But as a minimum, everybody should have a will. And I want to talk to you about that because you just said that when you have just a will, that's just, you're planning to go to court.
Yes.
And so explain that word probate.
Well, because only 30% of Americans have done any form of planning at all, we have to have some process to be able to move things that are owned by a decedent to a living person. And so that's what probate or succession, depending on what state you're in, is about. It's about moving things that are owned in the name of a decedent to their next of kin.
So probate then is a legal process that we go through to sort of validate the will and say, yes, it was indeed valid. This is what has to happen. And there's a way around that, and you're going to talk about that later. But for the most part, but as you're saying, most people don't even have the will.
Correct.
Okay.
And that process is very expensive. That process will end up losing the family thousands and thousands of dollars, and doesn't really take care of all of the considerations that most families have.
Yeah, I'd like you to kind of give an example of that, because I understand that, especially in California, when you go to court and there's a probate process, there's a fee. There are fees that are set by California statutes that says, okay, this is going to cost a certain percentage of the estate.
Correct.
Okay.
So these are statutes that you can't get around,
okay,
related to the gross value of your estate, which unfortunately includes things like mortgages,
okay,
that really shouldn't be included in evaluating what you're going to get.
Okay, so I'm going to give just a really tired example here. But let's say somebody left you a house and it was $200,000, but you don't have any cash. You were just a poor little niece or whatever, but it was $200,000. It was in the will. And you have to go to court. So this court process is going to cost you probably, what, 5% of that, 3%?
No.
Just make up a number.
Actually, unfortunately, because of multiple fees and charges involved in this, it'll cost anywhere between 15 and 25% of the value of the assets.
Okay, so if I don't have 15 to 20%, if I don't have 20% of 200,000, which is, what's that, $40,000? So I'm going to lose my inheritance because I couldn't come up with the money.
Right.
So I'm going to have to sell that house.
Well, what's even more tragic is that it's based on the value of that asset. But if your aunt left you that property and she had a $100,000 mortgage on it at the time, how many people get property free and clear? At least not that many nowadays.
Okay.
The court determines the price that the family's going to pay or the amount of the cost on the value of the property, not the real equity. So you're only going to get $100,000, but you might have to pay $40,000.
Oh, wow.
To get that 100.
And then you have to sell. Yeah, you're going to have to sell it because you don't have any cash.
Correct.
I know you understand that.